I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.
Yo, what's up? Mike from Copville here to talk about Tasty Gains creatine gummies. I would never push a product I don't use. I didn't take creatine until I ran into Tasty Gains and started taking these gummies because they're simple. No powder, no mixing, just pop a gummy in, 1 gram of creatine per gummy. What are the benefits of creatine? Increase water to the muscles to get that sick pump in the gym. Better recovery, more power during your workout, and studies are now showing it's helping with the brain, which I need all the help I can get. So go to tastygains.com, use code COPVILLEOG for 20% off. This is the real deal, simple, easy, and we'll get that pump going so you look good for the ladies or men. Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Locked Up with Copville. This one's going to be local. As you know, I'm the co-host of Anti-Hero, co-host of Counterculture. Spend a lot of time traveling. So some of these Copville episodes, next week I have a really cool guest. Wild situation that a cop wants to come on and talk about their disaster per se. But this week's going to be kind of local to Indian River County. The hot topic, and that's not this show, that's my other show that's live tonight, but the hot topic here in the county is the budget and the sheriff's office budget and the argument with the county commission. And it's a real wild subject. Having been 23 years at law enforcement, I've always wanted more money. You always want deputies to be paid. You always want police to be paid. But you work for the government, and you knew going into this job that you knew your pay scale, you knew the boundaries of the pay, and you knew it wasn't going to be, you weren't going to get rich. There was no way you're going to get rich. I don't think I broke 70 grand I started at like 32,000 in 2005 with the sheriff's office. I don't think I broke 70 grand until like 15, 16 years in. And then I started making money, promoted, demoted, all that cool stuff. But I started making money, and I got my last several years up close to or over 100,000. But I knew I wasn't going to make money. Where I'm torn here is cops should make good money. They should be compensated for the most dangerous, grueling, miserable job that I can think of. And it's not only grueling on the streets where you see all the videos, it's grueling within the walls of the agency. And that's kind of what part of this is about. I've been in the circle of the agency. I know the conversations that take place. I know how the mindset of people when they're promoting and moving and managing money. I've been on the other end of that phone call many, many times. And my opinion mattered at one point until it didn't. But within the walls, accountability and transparency, and then doing what's morally right and not wasting money, blowing money. So one of the obviously the hot things right now is this lawsuit with the county commission and the sheriff. So I'm going to bring up share screen Facebook. So here on Facebook is the article on WPTV. And I'm going to kind of scroll through this. Very mixed. You got Insane. You have Vero's Voice Magazines, which is pro Eric Flowers, basically saying, the suit thinks he has the right to decide above the sheriff. He stands by Flowers. You got my man Sean Elliott here, who always is good for a good meme. Then you got wild statements like Flowers can quit his job and he, split the money. 200 grand is not going to go far. Wasn't he everyone's hero? This is a political, let's go talk politics. He lost my vote. Wish we could pay police officers more, but we're taxed out. And that's, some people feel that, like they're taxed out. Times are tough. So to publicly beg for money and kind of, dragging trash cans to the podium and the theatrics, it's like, that will turn people off. I know about turning people off. I made fucking TikToks like a moron and ended up in the news. So like that turned people off. Like, this dude's an idiot. But you recover from some things, you change your mindset, and you get back to business. But that turns the public off. Sue, everybody has, the lawsuit's going to cost money, both sides, more tax dollars. like this. There's more money in the sheriff's budget for litigation. The people making all these comments should learn something about respect. Nobody respects anybody online. The county commission has neglected paying the adequate amount of money for years. I disagree. I think there's been a lot of mismanagement, and we'll talk about that. If they gave more speeding tickets to more drivers, people think that generates income. Another knock on cops. That's not true. Now here you got maybe the county commission doesn't like the sheriff because he didn't uphold the same standards on himself like he does his deputies. When he was cheating on his wife in his vehicle in the orange groves, sorry, no respect for the adulterer. A sheriff is supposed to be of high moral standards. When you make that, but as much as I dislike the guy, at some point, beating horse. He used my name with a horse statement. Beating a dead horse sometimes it's a relevant point, but at some point you move on from that. I know for his ex-wife, all those people, I'm sure nothing ever moves on. His phone was broken, all that stuff, but it can lead to that statement. So I want to take that statement and we go to some of the other headlines that happened during that time when we talk about what the public is saying about the being upset with his standards, his morals. And everybody knows me, like TikTok. They say I was investigated, this, that, and the other. He investigated it 15 years ago. Garbage. Like, I have no problem talking about that. There's so many episodes I've done. Like, it's beating a dead horse twice in one episode. But when you get something like this, where people remember back in when he took the field there, the big baseball field day, he swore in and he said, an oath before God, like his marriage vows, he said, and pledged is crystal clear now. If you're breaking your other vows, such as wedding vows, he asked rhetorically, what would it stop an employee from breaking the oath of state of officer? So that's his own words. Like, I know a lot of cops break wedding vows. A lot of people break wedding vows, but a lot of cops put their hand on a Bible, or people put their hand on a Bible and get in front of a camera and a lot of people and make the bold statement that if you break any vows, you're basically a crook, criminal, which he did. And then again, it was pretty ugly. It still lingers around the community, and it's a cheap shot, and kind of like any other cheap shot, or he's a racist, or he's a this, that, people throw at cops. It kind of loses its steam after so many applications of it, but it's his own words. He took an oath, he said it, and that leads to like budgeting. Is he doing what's the right thing in the budget? Is he doing what's right? Is he accountable? Does he hold himself accountable? So that's where it's like, is there accountability there? So I'm going to go into like some of the things. One thing that happened a while ago, this is interesting to me because a lot of deputies now come out and support publicly on duty on social media and argue and bicker back and forth with different comments. I think it's tacky. I posted a lot of social media stuff of arrests when I was working. I ran the social media, posted out of gas, people getting arrested and all that, but bickering, which I get paid to do now, people hate me and they bicker, but it draws engagement. But when you're bickering as a deputy and you're arguing with some of those people, you're never going to change their mind. Will they either support you or they don't? But you're bickering about money in the comments of Facebook, and then, the customer service, the female customer service lady, Stephanie Diacquar, calls Joe Flesher, oh, he's a Guido, and use it in a derogatory term. Nobody's going to care. You can say Guido about somebody, but that's the professional customer service rep of the sheriff's office who takes complaints and routes them as a civilian and says, oh, this is bad, let me send this here. She's on duty and she's in there calling names to commissioners. They're upset with them, but is that professional? Is that accountability? One of the main, and they argue, one of the main things I want to point out is part of being a cop is not just fucking money. You have to do your job. Like all these arguments and citizens and all this stuff, the bottom line is you're getting paid to do the most dangerous job. You should be physically fit. You should be prepared to go to work every day. You should be training, and you should be ready to earn that paycheck. And I'll tell you, the guys that comment the most online are not in that condition. They are not in that condition. The people that are most vocal, and this is a law enforcement across the board type thing. The people that are most vocal, if their coworkers could say what they wanted to say about those people, they would be like, this dude's a fat slob, this dude's a moron, this dude hasn't done a damn thing. But you can't say that around the sheriff's office. You'll be bullied, or you'll be called a bully. The guys that are working, and that's the same thing goes with Cobbville and all these guys that tune in and DM me and do this job for putting bad guys in jail, they don't say anything. They're going to go to work. They're going to get screwed. They're going to get written up for stuff. They're never going to have it easy like all these other guys. But then these guys get in the comments. They're in public without vests on. They're fucking overweight and disgusting. They're not prepared to fight and protect you, but they're begging for more money. That's the equivalent. We always talk about, well, baseball players and football players make so much money. Yup. One, it's completely separate because everything's driven on revenue from sponsorship deals and the ticket sales, but they only get paid big money when they perform big. When they go out and they're best of the best of the best in the best shape, training every day, running, practicing, that's how they get to be tip top and top paid. You can't sit in the comments as a slob or a slacker that everybody knows that's what you are and argue with general citizens about why you should get more money. You can't do that. And you look like a fucking moron when you all do it. And nobody will say it. Nobody who works with you is going to say it. Just like I always said, it took Aaron Scranton, God bless his soul, to walk up to me in 2020, stare me in the face, and say, "You're a fucking clown for making TikToks." And the people that I were close with, you kind of brush them off, like, "Oh yeah, I know you don't want me to do it." Like, "Yeah, I'm humanizing the best." No, I'm a fucking moron. I was an absolute moron. But it took a dude like that to square up, walk up to me, and say that, and I respect that dude. But you got these guys, trash cops in charge of the union. There's no backbone. They're not going to stick up for what's right. They lay down. They should be furious that the sheriff's budget is in this kind of condition at this point in his term, second term, that he's this far behind in keeping up. And when I get into physical fitness standard, some of the money he wasted, probably about 50 grand, was when I was still on the ends and I was ridiculed for this. He built a whole big pat field, spent all this money and did this study. All of us got these pieces of paper from a doctor. We had to fill out all this shit about what we do all day. And this doctor analyzed it and put together a physical fitness field for a standard. And I remember talking to the sheriff, and he had a plan. This is when he was still sane. He had a plan, and it was a great plan. And he said, "I'm going to make these people do this test. They're going to get several chances. And after so long, if they fail this test, they're going to be on light duty, remedial training in the gym with Lonnie Rich, and they're going to not come back to work until they're physically fit." And I was like, damn, dude, I can get behind this. Like, things are going great. This is before he was in the Orange Groves and all that stuff that he was doing extracurricular. But the same union, the slobs, the same union attacked the sheriff in a big email bitching about there being a standard for physical fitness and the test. The same guys that are crying right now that want all this fucking money wrote a letter with their union bashing the sheriff because he wanted to bring a physical fitness standard to the agency and make it a thing where your fat ass was off if you didn't pass it. So what did I do? I reply all to the union without speaking to the sheriff. I stand on business and say, why is my union that I pay dues attacking the sheriff in an email against my wishes? Like, I'm part of this union. There was no vote. There was no discussion. I agree with this as a fucking cop that's in shape. I agree with this. Well, they didn't care. They sent this letter, and I got what normally happens is, that's the sheriff's boy. He's protected. He's an asshole. He's sticking up for this clown. All those guys hated him. All these dudes right now in the union, all these guys commenting on Facebook that are his buddies now, they all hated his guts. And because I stuck up for him, they hated my guts. It wasn't for him I was sticking up. Back then, maybe a little bit, but it was the standard. I believe in a standard that you should be able to pass a test. You got a chick that worked for us that showed up to the test and refused to take it. Click, refused, right back to work. You got dudes that couldn't make it over a 5-foot fucking wall. Maybe it's lower. It might be 4 foot, maybe 5 foot. I don't know. You got cops working right now at the sheriff's office at this very moment that I physically watched not be able to get over a wall. The time for this test is astronomically long. You could almost do it twice if you're busting it. You got people that are 15 minutes over. You got people 5 minutes, 6 minutes over. No accountability, no standard. It starts on the baseball field, goes to the Orange Grove, finishes here with you put all this in, you waste the money to have all this done, and then it just altered it, and you don't have to worry about doing it. So it's like, why waste? That's what I'm talking about. Like all these ideas is waste, is just throwing ideas. There's no plan, there's no structure to what he's doing. So another thing would be, let me go here. So back in the same time frame, Milo Thornton runs. That's the reason I'm not there anymore, because I supported Milo and I got bamboozled. There were some questions. So to the regular people that don't understand the budget, one of the arguments from the county commission, and I'm going to show that next, is he doesn't show them what he's actually spending the money on. He gives them, and I have a copy of the budget. It's a funny story, but I got handed a jump drive that was discarded by somebody into a Goodwill, ended up in a Goodwill, and somebody contacted me and gave me a copy of this hard drive, or this thumb drive that has the entire like 21, 22 budget on it. So I know how they do this stuff. I see how they cook the books. But something that was brought up was the sheriff's office isn't fully funded or filled. There's plenty of openings. And every time he asks for more openings, which was brought up before, back in 2023, there are 57 fully funded. That's probably across the board. That's not just sworn, but here we got 28 sworn positions and 17 civilians. Back in September of 2022, 21, we've not filled all those positions. But every time this dude asks, if he says, let's do simple math because I'm a moron. I need 10 deputies to keep it nice and easy. So we're talking 10 deputies and we're talking 50 grand back then. Just so nobody accuses me. I know it's simple math, but I'm going to do it. 50 times 50,000 times 10, $500,000, right? So it's $500,000. Now that's just salary. Now you have to get them a car. With the car, 20 grand. They probably get a deal, 20 grand. We'll go 20 grand on the low end. 20,000 times 10, simple math, another 200 grand. Told you we're going to break it down nice and easy like Barney. This is Barney math. So now we're at 700 grand. Now you have, and I'm not going to even dive into this, they predict overtime. Well, we're going to have to pay them some overtime. We're going to have to buy them a gun belt, magazine pouches, vest, uniforms. We're going to have to match their FRS, match their FICA benefits, and match their health insurance. All that money is cooked into those 10 positions. All that money. So I need whatever that comes out to. Let's say 1.5 million. I need 1.5 million for 10 new deputies. That's budgeted, and I need those positions now. So guess what? If those 10 positions are not filled, which he's not at full staff, that money is allocated, moved. I know all the tricks. I was in meetings. They move money around. That money is just moved around. So now he buys this, he buys that. Next year, the budget doesn't go down. He doesn't lose those positions. He gets that same money the next year, plus what he asked additionally for. Plus what he asked additionally for. And that money continues to compound. So now the 10 deputies, if they don't get filled, and there was a couple years there they asked for multiple, and they're not filled. That 10 position, those 10 positions are still funded by the county commission into his budget. He's not going to put down, I got 10 openings now. He's going to hide, he's going to just say that's going to be now hidden in deputy pay. Here's what can't happen. He can't hire those 10 people, let's say, because now he's asking for this money. He's broke. He can't fill those 10 positions essentially, because how is he going to fund? He can't already fund what he's got. So now you add 10 more bodies at that price. How do you pay for it? Now you're way over budget. So that the fact that that money's never given back and that they go, hey, you didn't fill those 10 positions last year. Where did that money go? Well, he spent it. And that's simple. This isn't Eric Flowers. Don't get me wrong. This is government 101. This is every agency. But you're the taxpayer, and I don't know if you're thinking about this. So like in this rebuttal by the county commission, and what I'm talking about here is, where's that one? Breaking. So here you have a paragraph where what I'm talking about is in the letter section titled Compliance with Statutory Requirements, the county administrator says, and Joe Fletcher, as noted by the chief financial officer, Amy Cooper, the sheriff does not currently budget at the sub-object code level. Without subject-object code level, the board is constrained in its abilities to be precise, to provide precise level of specificity, something like that. Not very smart. Required by statute. So, what does that mean? That means what I'm saying is he doesn't break it down for them to see what are you spending this money on? Where is that money going? You have 10, 12, 15, 20 openings. He don't tell you about that anymore. Now it's just under personal or deputy salaries. You can try to get that information and do all that, but you guys as the public, you don't care about that. You just want to get on the mat. It's either we support the police or we don't support the police. So the defund the police thing that he's trying to say is absolutely ridiculous. And we're not going to go into his wasteful spending. That'll be another show. But some of the things that are very interesting to me, and I've said it online, we're in a budget crisis. It's been that way, right? Last year was tough. This coming year was tough. We bought the SWAT team, SWAT boys, Staccato XCs, right? So let's just do this. Staccato, the price of a Staccato XC varies with listings starting at approximately $4,100 with new models and around $3,855 for used. I make a lot of jokes about Staccato and SWAT-cato. It's a competition gun. It's the primary weapon on SWAT entries, except for a few guys, is the rifle and your backup. We transition to the Staccato. You do the math, even if you go down to like 33,000, they probably paid 3,000, 3,500. So simple math, 75, 80 grand on guns. I like the SWAT guys, some of them. Do they need a $3,500 gun? You tell me. I mean, I never got mine. I was supposed to get one and then I was buried and then adios. So I never got to play with my little Staccato, but they have them. It's not a knock on SWAT. So if anybody from SWAT tries to, oh, he's shitting on SWAT, I'm not shitting on SWAT. I'm just saying you didn't need those guns. They're cool, but did you really need a $3,500 gun? So 87 grand. And then another interesting one is the personal bodyguard, Clifford DeLabe. So he basically, I know this because I was the guy at one point where he has to call somebody and have them tell him everything's okay. He, the sheriff. So he finds a guy that is his guy. For a while before the affair, things were pretty normal. I would say, hey, this is that. And I have all the text messages, calls, all that stuff. What's the word? How's everything going? Because he's very nervous. He's a nervous guy. And he would call me a lot and ask me, and I would give him that stuff. But when it changed, it's kind of like the TikTok thing. I say where Scranton was hard on me, and I believed it, and I changed. Probably because I was close to him. As I started to tell him, "Hey, man, I don't know about this. This is a little wild. This is a little wild. Blah blah blah." And I'm not gonna be nasty, even though they were nasty to me. I was at a lot. I met him a lot of places where he was in a lot of bad places, and we had a lot of conversations. And I'm not gonna be nasty, even though he did me no favors. And or never mind. But I'm not gonna be nasty. But what I was getting at is he calls. He's very nervous. He's also an ostrich. He puts his head in the sand so he doesn't hear anything sometimes. But I started to tell him, "Hey, bro, this ain't good." And that was personal opinion. That wasn't like I never got ahead cover. I didn't get promoted in the first wave. Nope. Watched my wife get promoted. All my people get promoted. Guys with 4 or 5 years get promoted. I didn't get promoted. I watched another Grant get promoted, and I got promoted at the end of that year of his first term. And I don't give Eric Flowers any credit for promoting me. Lonnie Rich promoted me. He watched me work at my ass off in the detective division. For all you fucks that say, "Oh, he was a sheriff's boy," that dude didn't do me any favors. He didn't do me any favors. During TikTok, he sent ring light to my house, thinking it was funny I was making TikToks. And when the news broke and the story broke, he ostrich. He pounded sand. He didn't fucking call me. He stayed away from me. Political decision. I get it. But I never had one conversation with Eric Flowers about me getting promoted, nor anybody else. Um, I was told that the conversation went when I was brought up that he asked Lonnie Rich, who's the next sergeant, and Lonnie Rich said Mike Dilks. And I was told Tom Rolland agreed, and I got promoted, and I got called to his office. I was also the only sergeant to get pinned by anybody and didn't have a ceremony, which is great because I had a little ceremony when I got demoted. But I was the guy that he called, and he always talked to and asked questions. And when you stop telling somebody they're doing the right thing, they either have to change or they get rid of you. So I was gone. So you got the personal bodyguard. Bananas. Captain's pay 160, and then the justification was, well, he was making so much money as a sergeant, getting all this overtime, is easier to just promote him to captain. Like, why does this man have to pick your kids up? Like, drive your kids around? Why does this man have to be your bodyguard? Why does he have to you're the sheriff and you can't get around by yourself? And he's got driving a brand new Tahoe, he's making captain's pay, exempt. Like, why aren't the deputies upset that they watched a guy quit the agency, walk back in the agency, quickly get promoted to sergeant in one of the easiest units, never went to patrol, just wanders around and then gets moved to captain, like, and all that money. Like, how is nobody upset about that? They probably are, but they won't say anything. You don't say anything because you end up like me if you talk out loud about it. And then you go back to like the election time. I skipped over this one. Jeff Luther was supporting Keith Touchberry openly. And then he was at a Keith Touchberry fundraiser in the middle of a week. And the next couple of days, he's hired at the sheriff's office in a brand new Explorer in a completely new position. Why is nobody mad about that? How do you walk around that guy at the sheriff's office every day complaining about money and salary? This all adds up. Start adding the math on all this up. Creates a new position for a civilian for obvious political support, buys him a brand new car, and he wasn't even supporting him, and he is. And you know what his job was? His job was to go politic on duty for Eric Flowers. Like, why is nobody talking about that? So it's all this adds up. And then you guys get online and go to a meeting and stand there. And how do you look at yourselves when you can't look around at each other and at the bosses above you and go, what they're doing is not right? But because I need a raise. And dude, you guys deserve the money. Don't ever think that I don't think that. But why do you sacrifice your accountability and moral compass and what is right for money? That's a problem. So, and then when we mismanage money and do all that crazy stuff, we end up with screen sharing. Don't move that. We end up with viral videos. And the reason I bring this up is, obviously this incident goes viral. So I don't know these guys. I've heard things. Probably hate my guts, but two reasons I bring this up. One, this video goes viral, and it was very clear that neither deputy was prepared for what happened. But because the media can cook everything, Instagram hits it real. Instagram, all the major training companies took this. They looked at it. They're like, this is fucked. This is bad tactics. This is a dangerous approach. But when you got the media on board, viral video shows mental health crisis, not an attack on any River County deputy, body cam reveals. What? You can't be mentally ill and attack a deputy and kill them. You can't be mentally ill and like Charles Manson was mentally ill. Does he get a pass? Like the way this headline is cooked, this is a pro Flowers, WPTV. They were told to write it like that. Viral video shows mental health crisis, not an attack on any River County deputy, body cam. You do not get the right to attack the cops regardless. Now, the result of that may be, hey, this dude needs help. I'm about it. I'm about mental health, about it. But you're a criminal if you try to hit the police first. And then once you're dealt with properly, taken down, all that other stuff properly, then we can reassess. There's never a catch-all. It's never like he didn't hit him. They say he didn't hit him. That's fine. He tried to smack the cop. He is quickly and professionally taken into custody swiftly so that there's no more swinging, biting, kicking, kissing, whatever happened in that video. Then you assess. Now, again, you don't punch him in the fucking mouth and try to knock his teeth out. You may have to punch him, but your goal is not to injure him. It may come to that. But to word it like that. And the irony of all that is the agency was paying one of the most humble, great men on earth, Renato Tavares, 6-degree black belt, world champion. You couldn't get any better than this. Free jiu-jitsu for all the deputies to go. How many went? 10, 12, maybe? Should be mandatory. But you take it away. You mismanage the budget. You don't know what you're doing with the budget. And the end result is cutting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the best martial arts that you can apply to somebody for taking somebody in custody. It's all no striking. It's all about leverage, weight, grip, control. It looks good. If they would have known jiu-jitsu and done some type of takedown and quickly handcuffed him in the proper way, that thing, not a problem with it. Could have punched him in the face. Chick from Hillsborough County punched some chick in the face. I posted it. That, that went viral, and that was okay. She could do that. So, but you mismanaged the budget, and then I got that video too. I posted it. Hold on. All right. So just for a little fun, because I don't know if anybody saw this, but where's it at? Facebook. All right. So here is like the polar opposite of the response the sheriff's office had to. This is in Hillsborough County at a concert. I mean, you could argue that she was having a mental health crisis there too. And is it wrong? Does it look better? It doesn't look good. Punch, but it's okay. But my bottom line for this is, again, I know I'm not well liked around here anymore because of the things I say, but I worked 23 years to earn the right to say all the things that happen inside that building that are fucked, and to point out to people to make sure they understand that I think the county commission bears some responsibility. I think there were some really dumb things said by the county commission, and it is their responsibility, but collectively work together to get to a budget resolution is always the best thing. Suing each other is never the right thing, but you have to be accountable, and the sheriff needs to be accountable on his end to make sure he's really telling the truth and being transparent about what's in his budget in order to bring it to the county commission. Their argument is he doesn't break down what's there. So how do they go through the budget and go, well, maybe you could cut that, maybe you could cut that, if he just puts 75% of the budget is money for cops, and then here's the rest of it. We all know that's not, money is willy-nilly. They spend money however they want. I've been involved in it. At the end of the year, they got extra money. They start buying fucking kites and fucking dumb shit just to fly, crazy shit gets bought. Oh, we got money at the end of the year. Let's burn it. We need to make sure we get it next year. It's all government. I'm not blaming him for that. That's just standard government. Oh, we got 25 grand left in this account. We didn't end up spending it all. Let's buy, let's buy whatever. Buy everybody jackets. Let's buy everybody hoodies. That happens. You're never going to stop that. But you have to be transparent and accountable for all your own stuff and make sure your house is clean before you, I think, go suing everybody and, a little hit and run, yell at the podium and walk out. That doesn't look good. They've argued, the commission argued, not enough sitting down and going over it. And then, like I said, the union. I know you guys deserve more money, but you guys have to hold your own leadership accountable. You can't drag trash cans in the county commission and say, keep paying, keep paying, keep paying. That's like your kids coming to you or and just saying, I want to go on another trip. I want to go on another trip. And they expect you to just keep finding the money to make it or make money. Like at some point you got to go, hey, we got to manage this a little better. So for everybody to jump on the sheriff's side, just bash the county commission, I think that's wrong. And I think that there should be in this type of situation, as government officials, they should sit down together, be very transparent. And I think there could have been a better resolution to this, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm an uneducated, over-caffeinated, once underpaid person. Catch me tonight live, 7 p.m. on Hot Topic with Coppville. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you guys for all the support.
I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.